Good morning. Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of where we were earlier when I had presented the Sandy Hook crime scene, okay? Because there was a name that was associated with this event of who drove a vehicle, and I really believe that, I'm throwing a disclaimer out there. I'm just trying to piece together information that's not given to us that I think needs to be questioned or at least addressed. This was from the Newtown Police Department. As I addressed earlier, when speaking about who it was that participated in the cleanup at the Sandy Hook Elementary School, it was noted that there were 2 truck drivers, and the one I'm going to focus on just right now is Kevin Tingley. Okay, Kevin Tingley. Again, please refer to the first video if you need a backstory of where this information comes from. Okay. I want you to take a look at this. This is the registration for voter registration for a Kevin Tingley. There are 2 Kevin Tingleys that were listed in Connecticut at this time. Voter registration and property is where I went to see exactly what I could find. I want you to note that this Kevin G. Tingley, born July 20th, 1972, okay? Kevin G. Tingley. As noted from the earlier on, I'm not going to read through this again, but this is someone who has a lot of senior executive advisory skills. Someone who is a business person, someone who is skilled in strategy, planning, organization, development, building different models of entrepreneurial projects, keeping confidential information, portfolio management, mergers, acquisitions, very business oriented. This is somebody who has multi-million-dollar experience in establishments like Goldman & Sachs. And please note, this is someone who has now said to be from 2013 to present, and this is going to be key when we look at the property. 2013 to present, he is the managing director of a Capital Corp in Westport. From 2005 to 2013, he's at the Saratoga Capital in New York, New York. Okay. My computer's being a little slow. Property that is associated with Mr. Kevin Tingley, and that would be Kevin G. Tingley, is 95 Greenleaf, Stamford, Connecticut. This is the home. This is the property information. The sale date, please note, sale date is 5/17/2007. Just to refresh your memory, the events that transpired at Sandy Hook Elementary School happened on December the 14th, 2012. Mr. Kevin G. Kevin G. Tingley paid $1,180,000 for this house. on 5/17. When you look at the history of the home, it's very interesting because apparently it was mortgaged and built in 98. It went to this Anna Markoja in 98 to 2002. It went to an Allison, Allison Cohen, for $155,000. In 07, it went to Kevin G. Tingley. Kevin G. Tingley it went to for $920,000. It also went to an Allison, Allisen Cohen. An Allison E.N. Cohen. The name play, is it a typo? Is there a what was that about? The house retained ownership with Kevin and Allison until August 27 of 2013, which was just a few short months after the final report was given for the Sandy Hook school shooting. These are all facts, guys. It was sold to this Maria D. Creamer. Okay, so note that series. This is the record from the GIS maps, which give you a breakdown. Cohen, Allison, Allison et al. Doesn't say on the formal GIS map anything else except Mr. Kevin G. Tingley's name on 5/17/2007. This is the official document from the GIS for Stamford. It just breaks down and shows you the house and GIS information. We look at the, here's Greenleaf. It is a 53-minute, it's 37.8 mile drive to Sandy Hook. And you have Westport down here, and you have Bridgewater up here. So this is all working on Kevin G. Tingley. And remember, to recap, we can find verifiable information about Kevin G. Tingley online because he was kind of a big wig at the Environmental Protection Agency, where he was working with different emergency systems, state emergency management agencies, setting things up with water. Lori Mathieu, not going to get into her right now, do a little bit of research about her. Interesting too, her residency is very patchy. She is listed from her Facebook now as being in and having been in Canada. No activity between November 2012 and August 2013 on her Facebook. Okay. Now we go to Kevin E. Tingley. This is where it gets really creative. Okay. We know a Kevin Tingley drove that van that was alleged to have been at the scene on New Year's Eve to clean up the Sandy Hook Elementary School. Right? This is what the official report tells us. Kevin G. Tingley. So we have two listed. Interestingly enough, Kevin E. Tingley, his birth date is also 1972, February the 12th. You're talking about just a few months difference in age between them. So let's go back and look at Kevin E. Tingley's information for property, because obviously someone has to live someplace, right? Interestingly, Kevin G. Tingley lives at 95 Greenleaf Drive, and that home was purchased on 5/17/2007, and it looks like Kevin E. Tingley lives on Greenwood Street in Naugatuck. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Connecticut. And that information was only, they procured nothing in the GIS gives Kevin E. Tingley ownership to this property. Nothing except his voter registration. Again, that's what we're looking at. Voter registration shows that he was in 2013, that he was at 24 Greenwood Street, right? And then by the time it was 2014, it says he was at 333 Worcester Street. So we started off looking at the Greenwood Street. Here's Greenwood Street right here, okay? This is Greenleaf for Kevin G. This is Kevin E. on Greenwood. Well, what about this Worcester when he moved? Because the Worcester, there was a sale on 5/10/2007. 5/10/2007. So 7 days, exactly 1 week earlier, Kevin E. Tingley's residence was purchased. Except it wasn't to him, even though he's listed on the voter registration as being there. The difference between 333 Worcester and 24 Greenwood is 1.3 miles. So we have Sandy Hook here, Newtown. We have and Seymour, I'm just going to throw this in here, the appraisal board for the adjustments. The other guy that was driving the truck, he works as an adjuster for the appraisal board here in Seymour. Yeah. Okay, that's another story. I'm trying not to give you too much at one time because it's a lot. And I'm giving you factual information. You can decipher that as you will. What are the chances? What are the hypothetical chances? Can somebody just be created? So when we look at the difference between Sandy Hook and the Greenwood, we're looking at 28, 24, 38 minutes. I mean, it's just all dancing around the same area. So you got to ask yourself, what are the chances that somebody with the name of Kevin G. Tingley, who was born in July of 72, who lives at Greenleaf Drive and bought his house on May 17th of 2007, is going to have another person that we cannot establish any sort of tangible existence from. We can establish a tangible existence from Kevin G. Tingley because he worked at the EPA. Very well documented. Everything's, there's history there. Kevin E. Tingley, don't have any history, nothing. There's really no history. All there is information that he lives at 333 Worcester, and that house was sold 1 week earlier on May the 10th, 2007, to a person named Artin Kazagin. The web goes on and on, but that's where I'm containing it right now, just to present this segment of it, because this segment is kind of foundation it needs to set in. Okay. This 333 that is attributed to Kevin E., you're going to see is much different in value. Much different in value. So on the other side of town, you're talking about an estimated value of $85,000. Although, see, right here, I don't know if you can see that. May the 10th, 2007, it sold for $106,000. You're saying, who did it go to? All the links in the description box. It sold to this person here, Artin Kazajin. But Artin Kazajin is listed in the voter registration as living at 91 Litchfield. Now, you could say, well, that people do have multiple properties and they rent them out, you know. You can have you can have property in one area, rent it, and go someplace else. This appears to be the property that they're living in. Now, yeah, and that's another person. This is Lori. Lori's the one that's now in Canada. Yeah, that person, his last name ends with somebody else that would be related. So I went through and did the searches for Tingley's. And you have that. So go to the GIS maps. And just to recap, so you can see where this is going. This is 333 Worcester. Okay, so we established that 333 Worcester, 333, here we are right here, 333 Worcester is Kevin E. Tingley, right? Kevin E. Tingley. But when we go ahead and we look and see who lives there, we see this Artin. You know, this Artin is the owner. Is he renting it? Is he leasing it to him? Well, let's look at let's look and see. 5/10/2007. That was the last time it transferred. And it transferred from this Luis Riviera, who had a stable, very stable residency in there for almost 30 years. And then it seems like the house was up for a while, and then it went 07. That's where allegedly Kevin E. Tingley has been. But the first place that it was listed, if you remember, we're going to go back, in 2000 and in November of 2010, it says he was living at Greenwood Street. Greenwood Street. So there's some sort of history, right, that he's living someplace else, at least, for part of this time. Where did that go? I know people are going to see my desktop and they're like, oh my gosh. Where, oh, where did that just go? Okay, let me pause this and regroup, because it's so much information. It truly is. It's just, it's crazy. Okay, back. So, like we were saying, that first it was 24 Greenwood Kevin E. Tingley was at. And that's this residence here, according to the GIS. When we go down to look at it, let's see who and when. On April the 15th, 2011, a Primo Enterprises purchases this, and this is the last time it's purchased. Before that, we have this David Pyers on November the 18th, 2009. And before that, we have Secretary of Housing in January of 2009. And then we have Connecticut Housing Finance Authority in 2008. So we have a lot of government affiliation and enterprises here that are a little bit off. Again, this is affiliated with Kevin E. Tingley. And you have to look and see the location. Everything is right next to each other. So you have to ask yourself, what are the chances that there's going to be two people with the same exact name, with the exception of a middle initial, with born in the same exact year, living within the same 30-mile or so radius of each other, at the same exact time, that would both seemingly be connected to this event? And one of them is definitely connected as the driver. The problem is if are they two people, or are there two different people? I think that's a very fair question, because when we go and search the internet to find the existence of a Kevin E. Tingley, there's none to be had. And this is the area that Kevin E. Tingley is said to. I can't find this person online. This person lives a internet-free life. Born in 72, so they're, just their mid-40s. And there's no activity online. None that I could find. And I've been at this for a little bit. So then I look up this Artin. Look up Artin T. Kazajan to try and see, what is this person? And that's when it kind of went around, and it started a whole nother trail to this is where they would live, and connections. We know that this person who's listed here in Westport, who was actually saying that they were employed in Westport, was actually the person who is addressed in Stamford. It pans out that this is that person. Very well connected and established person in government. That would be Kevin G. Tingley. And it says that he voted in person in the general election in from 2008 to 11/6/2012. The interesting thing is that his resume, it would seem like that he left, right? It would seem like he left Connecticut after that. But no, because this is 2013 to present. According to his employment history, he basically just arrived. According to his voting history, he basically had just left. So that's kind of an interesting thing too. When you look at the voting history for Kevin E. Tingley, what do we have? Well, it looks like he voted from 2005, 2006. He didn't vote in 7. He voted in 8. He didn't vote in 9, 10, 11, or 12, or 13, or 14, or 15, but he voted again in 2016. That's kind of interesting too, don't you think? Do we have any double years of the voting? 5, 6, no, 7. Let's see. We have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 there. And we have 5, 6 here. And we have an 8 here. This would be the only time that 2 Tingleys voted. This record here in 11/4/2008 would signal that this person voted. Kevin E. Tingley. And also, I hope it's not the same person, because that's a crime too, right? That would be the least of the crimes. Kevin G. Tingley voted in 2008. (11/4/08), and so did Kevin E. Tingley. Other than that, isn't it interesting that that's the only year between like an 11-year time frame that these 2 different individuals voted at the same time? Kevin E. Tingley is registered as a Republican. A Republican, that's right. Where Kevin G. Tingley, the EPA guy, is listed unaffiliated, a U. Are you guys following that? Is that too much information? I'm going to go ahead and post the links to all of this so you can just go ahead and take a look at it yourself. And you can just see what you think. The chances, you have to ask yourself, what are the chances that we're going to have somebody who's going to be driving that vehicle from the cleanup? Because this is where it comes from. This is why this person's important. You're talking about a key person. A key person who is supposed to be, according to rules and regulations, there's supposed to be certification to doing this kind of cleanup. It's not just anybody can go in. And that was alluded to in the previous video. I posted links in the description box and for that. So, yeah, Kevin Tingley, and there's kind of a special subscriber that I have who's been, very adamant that everything, he says, everything that happened in Sandy Hook was legitimate and real. Everything, verbatim. And then, a lot of you guys that are following along feel like it's all been a hoax. And this is not to side and pinpoint or harass anybody that's being mentioned. This is to get the facts straight. Because if we get the facts straight, the truth will be there. And the facts aren't straight right now. So the truth isn't there right now. Okay, that's it. Have a good night.